am John Coleman. The story you're about to hear is how VMF 422, a fighter squadron of Corsair airplanes, lost 22 out of 23 planes in the greatest marine air disaster in history. And it all happened without a shot being fired. On January 25, 1944, they left Tarawa in the Gilbert Islands, headed for Funafuti, 700 miles away, with a gas stop in Nanumea. It was just a precaution. They had plenty of gas, and it was to be a milk run. The pilots were a mix of grizzled Guadalcanal vets and rookies right out of flight school, all led by Major John S. McLaughlin, a Naval Academy graduate commanding his very first mission. They left in clear weather, and about 2.5 hours out ran into a major hurricane. Only one plane made it. Of the 22 planes that crashed, 16 of the pilots survived. The disaster was never made public to prevent leaks of the upcoming Marshall Island invasion, and the story is almost unheard of today. The Corsair airplane and Marine Fighter Squadron VMF 422 are inextricably linked to each other by the greatest non-combat marine air disaster of World War II, which came to be known as the Lost Squadron.
I wake up at night. I don't have nightmares about it. I just wake up and think about it. And I lay awake, and I'll stay awake for 2-3 hours just thinking about that, thinking about it.
That was the most terrifying moment in my entire life. Just think of it, being out over the dark blue Pacific Ocean in a burning aircraft in a driving rainstorm in a hurricane. The thought of it just, well, it makes my old pacemaker flip-flop.
When we ran into a horrendous frontal area,
we hit this wall of weather. I mean, it was like a curtain. It was black, and it was as wide as you could see and as high as you could see.
When we hit this monster, I call it a monsoon.
Typhoon type bit. And we hit that, and man.
We didn't think too much of it because the weather reports ahead of time were minor rain squalls, and it turned out to be a full-fledged hurricane.
You couldn't see a plane if it was right in front of you. You really couldn't tell whether you were upside down or right side up.
It was highly dangerous. He slammed into a wave as he attempted a water landing. That wave must have been at least 35, 50 feet high. He went into the side of it, and we never saw his plane again. It went in, and that was it.
The minute that big heavy engine caught the water, why, bam, I mean, it's like running into a brick wall.
He lasted for 24 days. I'm gonna last for 24 days.
I probably will keep on thinking about it the rest of my life.
There are times in life when the finest of human spirit rises to the occasion. And this is the story of VMF 422, the Lost Squadron. The Lost Squadron is a story of man at his best under duress. It shows the heroism and also the breathtaking experiences that we can all relate to in our own worst nightmares. But that one fateful night, it did happen. For those involved, it was a nightmare come true. And once again, as from the beginning of time, man's limits and ingenuity were tested to the max, and many men responded brilliantly, albeit with various degrees of success. The Lost Squadron is one of the last great untold stories of World War II. 23 brand new Corsair airplanes took off from Tarawa in the Pacific, destined for Funafuti. Only one plane made it. Of the 22 planes that crashed, 16 pilots survived, 15 of them in the ocean for almost 3 days before being rescued. They ran into a typhoon, and one plane crashed into the sea, and another parachuted down to try to save the pilot. One plane crashed into a teeny little island, and the pilot was rescued by natives and treated like a hero. The commander took 2 erratic turns and was never seen again. Several planes were lost, 2 ran out of gas and went into the sea, and the last 13 ran out of gas and ditched together. The 13 pilots were in the sea for nearly 3 days on 12 individual life rafts with sharks circling, until a Navy PBY seaplane came to their rescue. As he landed, one of the engines broke off in the high seas. 8 of the pilots were rescued, but the other 5 disappeared. After almost 4.5 hours of taxiing and searching, they were found. However, now the 15 and 20-foot waves prevented takeoff, and the plane was rapidly taking on water. Finally, a destroyer rescued them. The same destroyer that rescued 2 other pilots, and as it towed the PBY plane behind, it started to disintegrate. The story of their ordeal in the ocean for nearly 3 days, chased by 3 sharks, is the stuff movies are made about. The rescue by a Navy PBY pilot in 15 to 20-foot waves with an engine breaking off is the stuff legends are made of.